Okay, guys, sorry about that connection issue. We are back. For those of you who were here with me on the earlier stream, sorry about that. Sometimes we have a disconnection issue, but we can come right back on. I didn't notice it quick enough, but now I have. And we are watching Zach Smith versus Massachusetts 1400 player, and his name is it is, sorry, let's see here. Santosh Ayapin. I'm sorry, Kelsey Liu is who. Wait a minute. Hold on. No. Oh, that's true. How is that? So Kelsey Liu is playing Zach Smith. That's what it is. So Zach Smith is 1800. Kelsey Liu is about 1900 here. You see there's an isolated pawn position. There's a pair of bishops on the board. Black. I like Black's position here. I definitely think this move, knight d5, is an excellent move. Trying to trade as many minor pieces as possible so you can focus your attention on this isolated pawn. You would like to trade all the minor pieces if you can. Keep at least the queen, because what this does is stops the opponent's king from participating in the defense of the isolated pawn. And then pile up your rook and your queen against that isolated pawn and push the neighboring pawn so you can finally win the isolated pawn. White wants to do the opposite. He does not want to trade the pieces. He wants to keep the pieces on the board because the isolated pawn gives him a space advantage, which cramps Black's pieces. And so you want to benefit from having that isolated pawn. Sorry, guys. We had to disconnect. Bad connection. That happens sometimes. This is quarantine chess. And so we got to get used to those situations happen. Hope's Paternal is thinking about some other things here. I wonder if he's thinking about knight to e4. Maybe thinking about knight to e4 here instead. But I think knight to d5 is an excellent move. Okay, so he does play knight d5. Makes a lot of sense here. I like Zach's position here. I just don't like his time. He's down 3 minutes on the clock. That could be a factor late in the game. Mark Heimann and James Canty have won their game in quick fashion. So we have 2 points already. Half a point solidifies this round. Advice Rajanish is down to 48 seconds. Now he's playing Nate Salon, so that's understandable. But let's see, he is down 2 pawns, so he is struggling here. Nate is winning this game, 2 pawns up. 2 pawns is just 2 pawns. But Advice is trying to stay in here, but he's again low in time again. He's down to 41 seconds. Last round, he was able to save a draw against a strong, experienced opponent like Nate Salon. I don't believe that will be the case, but hey, we can hope. So Nate Salon is activating the king now. Probably I would play the move g5, kicking the knight backwards. The knight doesn't have any better square to go to. Okay, so what Advice is doing is trying to solidify a home for his knight, but a simple b3 should take care of that. He could also play, I guess, rook to c5, a6, and then rook to d5 or knight d5. I'm not sure, but I would play b3. But then again, you would have to protect this pawn on b3 for a long time. So Nate has 8 minutes. He has enough time to think about that. All right. these is our last two games. It looks like Advice Rogeness is losing that game, but this game is very important. If Kelsey Lou is able to win this game, she would give her team a draw in this round. So far, we are up 2.5 to 1.5, as you can see on our ticker. And with those 2 wins, and I forgot our sound effects. You gotta give sound effects here. Every time we win, because we are the monsters, we have to have our sound effects. Here we go. And you know, it's almost Halloween. So what could be better than a Michigan Monsters team winning the state cup? What could be better than that? All right. And if we're looking at this game with Zach Smith and Kelsey Lou. Now, Kelsey, this is her last game where she's playing someone around the same rating. Zach is around 1880. She's around 1980, about 100 points difference. Look at Zach Smith with this bishop pair. Looks really good. He had the bishop pair the last game and was trying to utilize them, but allowed the position to be closed. This position cannot be closed, so this is going to be a good position for the bishops. He can't take, or I'm sorry, he can take the pawn, but then he gives the pawn right back with rook a1. So that's what he's looking at right now. I think I would play, okay, if he plays rook to c7, I thought maybe the move bishop to a3, threatening bishop to b2, covering a1 and attacking the c3 square. I thought that could have been a move here. I believe Kelsey is going to play a move like knight to e3, trying to take away the bishop. I guess he could get away with bishop takes a2. So maybe she plays the move a4. Maybe she plays the move a4 here. So she does play a4. I will still be looking at this move bishop to a3, threatening bishop to b2. Or maybe even better is to play rook to, no, I'm sorry, because there's knight to e3 coming. So maybe rook to c4, knight e3, but I guess we do get to win the pawn. We give up the pair of bishops. Zach, I believe, is in a much better position here. This is much better for black. You got a backwards pawn, the pair of bishops. You can't ask for a better game. The problem is Zach is taking way too much time on the clock, where there's a critical decision that needs to be made. You have a lot of moves that you can make here that doesn't take that much time. You can even play a move like bishop to d5 or c4, or a6, and try to get in b5 in as well. So you got some moves that you can make that are pretty simple. He stops the knight from going to e5. I don't believe that was that great of a move, because the knight on e5 wasn't doing anything anyway. It did not threaten to go to c6 or d7 or f7. The only thing it could do is just go back. I believe the biggest threat for the knight is to go to e3, because this attacks the bishop. But I guess you can play bishop to b3. After knight e3, bishop b3, rook a1, and maybe you could even play the move a5. Maybe you can play that, or a6. I don't know. But Zach is going to have to move a little bit faster in this game. Advice Rajanus is still hanging on. What? He's down 2 pawns. So there's just 2 pawns here, and those 2 pawns are really good. Advice has... Oh, and then Salon, he does... Okay, so he just simplifies the whole game, saying, hey, I'm going to give you the rook for a pawn. I'm going to steal all your pawns, and queen another pawn, and I don't have to worry about calculating this. Makes a lot of sense. If Life is not going to be able to race, that's what he wants to do. He wants to race and be able to get back in time. And he goes back. I mean, now it's really, you're not going to win anything now. His best chance was to try to push the pawns as far as he can and try to queen one of those pawns. But now it's not going to be enough here. And Advice Rogers is going down to Nate Salon. Let's go back to Hope Springs Eternal. This is Zach Smith, former student of Mike Smith, part of the Michigan Chess Association during the 2000s, I would believe. Yeah, or they were there for a long time. And so Zach Smith has 1 minute and 45 seconds to Kelsey Liu's 4 minutes and 22 seconds. And he's trying to work these bishops as much as he can. He might need to get his king involved here. Or maybe play a move like rook to d7, putting pressure on the d4 pawn. But he has to move. He's taken a lot of time for this position. A position where he is much better. He does go rook to d7, attacking the d4 pawn. White could play the b5. I would take this. I would play a move like bishop to c5 at that point. I think Kelsey, she could play. Okay, if that did happen, so d5 here. I would play bishop c5. I would not take that and give the knight an outpost. Don't want to do that. Looks like the knight is going to get probably an outpost anyway, but the c pawn is going to be very weak. He took that, and now the knight is going to be dominating in the center. It's going to be hard to claim the bishops are that great with the knight on d5 like that. Maybe he wants to play bishop takes c4. Now that's something he could play. So the move is after knight takes d5, bishop takes d4. Because if rook takes c4, then rook takes d5. I don't know if that's going to be enough. It could be. If knight takes d5, bishop takes. If you take the bishop here, he could take the bishop there on d2. So there's some tactics with this. I wonder if Zach planned this. Yeah, Adam, I think Zach is having troubles on the clock. I believe his position is okay. I think it's better for black here. I would rather be black. So Kelsey took the time to figure that out, and she took with the pawn instead of the knight. So that actually really makes Zach's position better than what it would have been. That was actually a good exchange for Zach there. Now he has to watch out for being going pawn because after the bishop takes and rook takes on d5, you're going to lose the d6 pawn. But also you don't want to go to an opposite color bishop in game because that's not going to be winning for you even if you are up 1 pawn. So that's not what we're looking for here. And it looks like now bishop takes is better because it wouldn't give you opposite color, give you same color bishops, but give you better winning chances. Now I believe that bishop is going to come to c3 or c1, keeping this pawn on d5 covered. Okay, and then we're gonna see moves like g6 and f5 because he wants to play f4. He actually gives up the pawn instead. That's interesting, and it might be a way to do that because after knight takes f5, you have rook takes d5, and then Zach believes that his bishop pair is going to win in the endgame. I would have kept the pieces on the board a little bit longer with g6 and then f5. F4, but I see what he wants to do. He believes in that bishop pair. He has a pass pawn, and the bishops are excellent pieces in the endgame where someone has a pass pawn. So you're trading your F pawn for white's pass pawn. That makes a lot of sense. You have your pass pawn there, limited pieces, simplifications. That makes a lot of sense here for Zach. Now, what white is going to want to do is create a dark square blockade so the pass pawn can't get where it needs to go. So he goes knight to e3. It's going to be hard to do that because you're going to have to put the knight on a light square in order to blockade the pass pawn on a dark square. Thanks everyone for joining this live stream. I know we disconnected earlier. I had to start the stream over. We're looking at Zach Smith versus Kelsey Liu from Massachusetts. Zach Smith is from the Michigan Monsters. So far in this round, we have 2 wins and 1 loss in this round. And if Zach wins this, we would be up 3-1. If he loses it, it's a tie round, 2-2. But I like black here. I like Zach's position here with the bishop pair. So now already it looks like black is going to win the f2 pawn. Look how the bishop dominate the knight. Now, I wonder if it's better just to play h6 and stop the knight from ever coming out of here, because this knight is running out of squares. That knight doesn't have any good squares to go to, guys, at all. He does take this, but I might have thought about playing h6 and seeing if I could trap that knight. Now, he didn't have to protect that because he had the nice fork. If knight takes h7, he had bishop f5 check. Welcome everybody to the live stream here for the Michigan Monsters. We're watching the bishop pair work here. Zach has to remember he does have this pass pawn. He does remember here. Gotta get this pass pawn going, okay. Maybe king to b5, just threatening the g7 pawn. You gotta watch that. Oh, he drops the g7 pawn. He drops the g7 pawn here. It's only 8 seconds left. Gotta check. Pull that up with check. And you should be able to control. Oh, it goes that far back. Okay. And he can attack the knight with a check. That's the worst square Kelsey could have went to. It allowed the check, the king, to attack piece. Wow. Now Zach is just up a piece, and he should win this game. All he has to do is control the squares in front of the pawn. He's looking to trade the bishop here on long diagonal. There it goes. You're gonna probably have to trade that, and he wins the game. We win. So Zach Smith beats his higher rated opponent, about 100 points higher, in Kelsey Lou. And that's a big victory for us, and that gives us a 3-1 lead here in this game, in this match here, and that was the end of the second round. We gotta have to catch our top player games early, because the last round they crushed your opponent so quickly we never got to see the game. As this refreshes, I am going to fix the score. So that round we won 3-1. I know, Adam, that was a nice victory for Zach Smith, showing us what to do with the bishops. That's exactly what you want to do. Keep them. And the closer it gets to an end game and an open position, as normally happens in chess, the better it is. So we are now leading the match 5.5 to 2.5. I think our biggest victory was we had a 12-4 victory, because we're playing 16 games in total, and we won 12-4. And guess who it was against? New York, or was it Ohio? I think it was New York there, where we won 12-4. That was our biggest victory here. And remember, we need this match. We need to do the best we can in this match to give distance between us and the second place teams. And one thing that the second place team has over us is that they were able to play Massachusetts earlier in the season, and we're now playing them now after we played New York and New Jersey. Ohio, teams that are a little bit more stronger. Maryland for sure was pretty strong. So we were able to play them at the end, the lower teams. And I think Philadelphia is pretty, not Pennsylvania is pretty high, I believe. Okay. All right, so trying to refresh these games here. All right. Oh, and this is a match we got to check this match out here. And this is the match between James Canty and Nate Salon. And so this is a big one, because James Canty is the second board, Nate Salon is their first board. And you're talking about a rating difference of 100 points in real life. Also seems like the same way online as well. And so this is a big chance for us to score here. And look at James Canty. He has almost a 10-minute advantage in time. And guys, we got to look at how this happened. All right. James is really good in the opening here. One of the most hardest workers that I've seen. And he's playing a King's Indian defense against the fianchetto version. And he plays D5 here. And he's going to open this position, and he feels really comfortable in open positions for sure. And after knight to b6, you see this move, queen a3, and already James it seems like he just out prepared his opponent already. And so now I'm looking at moves, maybe even bishop to g4, just developing another piece, because f3 does not help white at all. Then you can play a move like bishop d7. But I know James is thinking about something much better. maybe even knight to a4, threatening the bishop on b2. Queen takes a4, queen takes b2. That should be an okay move. Also, the move knight to e5. You got the c4 square that's hanging. Knight a5 as well. Knight a5 looks Knight a5 looks good too, threatening c4, which will win the b2 bishop. So James has his pick of good moves here. I gotta say it, black is better in this position. Black is better in this position, and he has outplayed Nate Salon in this opening. Okay, let's go to squat to depth. Let's refresh his board while his board is refreshing. Let's go to advice Rodness here. His board, we need to refresh his board too. Okay. And also let's refresh this too. We got a couple boards that need to be refreshed here. All right, so we have Mark Heimann here he's our first board. And he's playing lose, then win. That's their second board. That's Kelsey Lou. And you see he has black pieces. And so this is a good thing because he has the black pieces against Massachusetts' second board. That means Mark will have white versus Nate Salon. And that's their top board, and we love that he has the white pieces there. What kind of, this is a Sicilian defense here. And I want to say it's similar to, it's the Shevinigan, I believe. This is Shevinigan Sicilian, yes. So in this position, you usually have moves like a6 or knight c6. This is a good choice versus Kelsey Lou. She's playing the open variation, by the way, which is something I think I would suggest people start to play more. We like to avoid the Sicilian, but the best way is to confront the Sicilian head on, right? Like, the best way to be a bully is to stand up for yourself. So that's what Kelsey Lou is doing. And right now, her position is okay. We can even look at Queen C7 is a move, and then E6. So person is okay. It's better. And oh, wait a minute. Before I spoke too soon, it was a knight to E4, and it's going to get messy here. This is going to get really messy. Wow, this is going to get messy here. So Mark goes for a pawn and going to a endgame where he's up pawn. She has to think there. Let's look at advice, and we'll go back to the game with James Canty. Let's make our rounds here. Advice game here. Hopefully it refreshes soon. And he's playing their, I believe their 600 player, who really like a 1600 player, I believe. But Advice has a big, wait a minute, hold on. Did Advice win this game already? So it looks like he's won the game already. There is a big development advantage for white here. What was that? He just sacrifices his knight on b3. That made no sense. And yes, Advice is outplaying the lower opponent. And we can see that there. And then there's a checkmate there. So advice wins that game. So we have 1 win so far. So let's give a wolf howl for that 1 win. Okay. And our next game is Zach Smith. He's playing, I believe he's gonna play the 1400 player here. Wait for this to, and what happened here? Is it? I think Zach won his game too. Let's go through it. Okay, there's a Carol Khan from Zach Smith. The Karpov variation. I love this actually. This is actually what I play myself. Look at how he develops those pieces. I just love this Carol Khan. The way Karpov played it here. Okay, no. We've seen this game here. It was one with the bishop pair. So no. He has another game that we have to check out here. So here's his current game. But we were able to see he played the Carol Khan in his game against Kelsey Liu and got the victory with the bishop pair, even though he was down to like 10 seconds. This game he has white, and it's a fight. This is a fight. He's playing, this player is 1400 here. And right now, Zach is, material is even. There's a nice knight that's on c4 here. But Zach is taking over the b file. So you gotta watch that. I'm anticipating rook to b5. Okay, I thought rook b5 would have been a way to fight for the b file. Now you're gonna see moves like knight to b2 or knight to b7, b6 to get rid of the nice knight on c4. And so I believe Zach is better here. This is a better position for white. He's comfortable here. We gotta go back to the game between our second board and Massachusetts first board, Nate Salon. So he's caught up a little bit in time. What happened here? So James Canty actually did play bishop b4, but then there was a knight to c3 move, threatening knight to d5, which would win the c5 knight because the queen could not stay connected with the knight here. Even, what if he plays queen a5? I'm not sure. But James didn't like that, so he stopped knight d5. I don't know what would have happened if he would have played bishop takes d1 and then queen, and then knight d5 and queen to a5. I'm not sure what would happen. You would lose the c3 pawn. Is there a trapped knight that I don't know about? Maybe bishop. No, I don't know what would happen there. I don't know. He looked like he could have taken that. But now James he's giving Nate Salon the bishop pair, and these bishops are going to be monsters if you're not careful. Now I wonder what happened there. He did think about that, so there must have been some tactics because he spent almost 5 minutes just on that one move. And for him to give up the bishop pair, it must have been something there because James wouldn't normally do that. I like to move rook a to d8 here. Rook a d8. Or maybe in queen c5. That's right. Queen c5 looks good too. You're attacking the c4 pawn. If take, then you have this knight focused on the the d3 square. You can play rook d8, trying to control the d3 square. This bishop, he would like to trade bishops because the bishop pair could be a problem. That looked like that's what's going to happen here. James is now thinking he's on the clock. He's has more than half the time of Nate Salon. He does trade that. James is going to have to really think about how he's going to handle this diagonal. He plays king to g7. So that takes away the check from knight takes e7. Oh, it's an interesting move. King to g7. I think he's getting ready to play rook d8. And the good thing about these knights are they are on these weak squares in front of this isolated c-pawn. So the knights are not bad at all. But I'm wondering if, I don't know if you would want to go to an endgame with no rooks on the board and just have the knights versus the bishop and knight. I am not sure about that. I would keep at least one rook on the board because this endgame, I would favor white with this long bishop on this diagonal for sure. I would definitely favor white here. But he has a low time. Let's go to the Mark Heimann game here. And remember, he's playing Kelsey Liu, the second board, who is 1984. Mark Heimann is 2485. Big rating advantage there. This knight on d6 is stuck. Okay, so she put this knight on d6, hoping to keep it there. Now, right now, it's okay right now, but I can anticipate a rook d8. But then you got to move the bishop away in order to get the knight. So maybe she should look to open the position with something like c4 and bring another rook in. Wow, so there was a b-pawn hanging. Mark Heimann, I actually think that Kelsey is not her position is not that bad. The king is stuck on f8. The rook is stuck on h8. I could see a rook lift coming into effect at the right time. Queen to a3. Queen to a3. Yeah, that's weird. Is he baiting her to go queen trade? She should not queen trade. So that's a no-no. She should put as much pressure she can on this g7 pawn on this king side with rook lifts. That's probably why Mark did this, because of queen b2 would stop rook lifts. But I guess you can just double the rooks with rook e1. Question is, how do you make this knight useful? Ooh, I think you can. Wow, I would play rook e3. I would play rook e3. Also, another move is queen to f4 with the idea of knight to, knight to d6, threatening f7. Goes queen to c7. Okay, so she plans on, if rook c8, queen d6 check, queen takes d6, knight takes c6, hits the rook, and you're able to get out. But I believe she should try to keep her queen on the board because this is a better attacking position. The position is begging for white to attack black's king. Black is up material. He's up the one pawn. But the compensation is the king that's not safe for black. And she has to try to take advantage of that imbalance before the king gets situated, the rooks get connected, the bishop is stuck on e8. Look at the pieces. The bishop is on e8. She plays knight to d6. Now that move is That's a dangerous move. And you're talking about this queen that's way over here on A3. That is a dangerous move. Now her plan is she just planning to go knight takes E8 and queen takes E6. That's her plan. And she even has the move bishop takes D5. Oh man, you got to really watch this. Mark Heimann has to watch this here. Now, I believe Kelsey Liu is playing a really good game here. Let's go back to James Canty here. No, let's go to advice. Oh, he won the game. So we already have a win already in that game. We did a wolf howl, right? Good. This is Zach Smith. Zach Smith versus Santosh Ayappan. And right now, Zach he has a pawn lead. No, he doesn't have a pawn lead. Okay, and Zach is looking to push a pass pawn. That's what he's looking to do. And I like white here, even though white has these weak pawns. He's going to be the first to get a passer here. It's going to be protected. Maybe black can blockade that pawn. But look at the nice knight on C5. Active rook compared to the rook on C7. Rook on B8 is there. There's going to be a protected pass pawn as well. Targets on A5. White is better here. Zachary just has to watch his time. Man, these games here. So, oh, Nate Salon is down to 56 seconds here. The material is even. It's a knight versus bishop endgame here with a knight and rook versus bishop and rook endgame. Now, Nate's king, I like Nate's king better. The pathway into the game is better for white's king, but he's taking a lot of time here. So here he is bringing his king into the game. So now maybe knight to C5 here. Maybe knight to C5 here. All right, so he does go king. So I wonder if he's planning to play the move. Does he think that the knight, so okay, so he does go knight C5. I don't know if he thought that the knight will beat the bishop in this endgame. Right now, right now we probably want to keep the pawn on D5. It is making the bishop worse. And probably keep that knight on E5 too. So here what I would do is I would move my king. I need my king to come over to the king side here. Now he does allow white to get rid of that pawn, and now the bishop has all this scope. Now it's going to be a bishop versus knight position. He is up big time in time here. 2 minutes and 53 seconds to 10 seconds. If we could score here, that means we would have that would be really good for our team if our second board can beat their first board. And I believe this is winning for James. He's just going to step up here. And he's going to create the first pass pawn there. There we go. And then knight is going to come to D4. Now you have to watch these pawns here because there's a 3 versus 1 on the queen side. Sorry, on the king side. So he has to watch that. Now this is looking more and more like it could be a draw here. Whoa. Okay, take, and then check and take. Can you afford to take this pawn on h2. I am not so sure. But he's thinking about that. That's the good thing when you guys have a time advantage. Remember, you can think more than your opponent. Uh-oh. So now it's going to be an extra pawn here. Will James have enough here to win? Is this a winning position? Let's go around here, James. Let's go around. So you just get checked here. So I thought that was a waste of a move. I thought maybe we could go around. It was better here. He's gonna go to the light squares there. Check in with Mark Heimann right quick. Okay, we're gonna come back to this game.